No cap, no cap, no cap, no cap. Like this, this.
I like that.
These are best practices. I call them best practices. You have best practices in business, and you have best practices when it just comes to yourself, self-reflection, you know, self-discipline and self-accountability and representation of yourself. These are best practices. So like my book that I wrote, I talk about best practices a lot. When I'm coaching, I talk about best practices a lot. And that's why I was saying, even when we was off camera, my biggest thing is always to give people something that they take and use and put in their in their tool belt. Now they can use these things. You know what I mean? We going out here equipped with things that we might have known of or not known of, but now we got it and it makes sense and we can utilize it as a best practice. Meaning we take it and we put it into practice until we perfect it. That's what practice is for. You practice a jump shot so it is wet. Like, you know what I mean? And so putting best practices forward in every aspect. You identify weakness and train until it becomes a strength.
You say identify the weakness.
And
train until it becomes a strength.
Until it becomes a strength. The best thing a person could ever do is identify a weakness. The worst thing they could ever do is be ignorant to a weakness. Because weaknesses exist. But if you're in the practice of identifying weaknesses, then you will always find a new one to identify and then turn it into a strength. Now, identifying a weakness and turning it into a strength is a great practice that everybody should put into practice. But that does not mean that when you would take a weakness that was something that was once a weakness and you turn it into a strength, that you're going to be the strongest at it. It means that you yourself are just stronger. But your absolute strength might be something else. But now this is also a strength. You feel what I'm saying?
No, I get you. I think some of the gems you dropping, may go over a lot of heads, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's why they got to be mentally strong.
That's why they got mentally strong.
Got to be. But you just said right there, but identify a weakness.
Yeah.
And train until it becomes a strength.
That's what
you know how much discipline, you know how disciplined you got to make yourself to do that? Because first you got to be, in order to do that, you got to be honest with yourself. You got to be honest, like, and not even a little, you got to be brutal. You got to dig down and say, look, I'm finna strip this shit off. And I gotta let me say to myself, nah, bro. Because a lot of times, you know, we wear 3 masks in life, right? We put on 3 faces. We put on the face that we go out into public with. This is our brand. This is who we is. We put on that face that we're going to go to the family with. It ain't quite the same face that I'm going to go out into the world with. You're going to get a little bit more intel and deep with me. I'm going to share things with you. But then you got that mask that you got to take off when it's just you. That's when you want to identify a weakness, you got to remove both of them other masks and just get in that mirror and say, look, everybody else think I'm this, but this is what we really is. We got to fix it. We got to dig deep into it. Man, listen.
And be okay with it.
And you got to learn to forgive yourself.